Dr. Leland from Level Up Academy. Welcome to Level Up Academy by Dr. Leland's live stream. Today I have not one, but two. Yes. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? All right. Let's
Are you a curious student, eager to learn new skills and make your mark in the world? Or are you a professional seeking to advance your career and unlock your full potential? You need to be equipped with effective soft skills like communication, problem solving, teamwork, and more. The Level Up Academy by Doc Leland bridges the gap between education and employment through transferable skills training. Get the soft skills you need to be more effective at work.
still dancing. I was loving that music. Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing? Okay, so Global Summit. I'm still looking for speakers, by the way. So if you know anybody, but it has to be in three buckets. Well, everyone really falls into three buckets, right? Entrepreneur, which is really everyone on LinkedIn, educators, K to 12, and higher ed. I do love educator. I am an educator myself, so that is near and dear to my heart. And what we're trying to do in the summit is kind of know and get to know what are some of the tools out there that you see that you can actually use and for your job, right now and stuff. And if it's not something that you guys are seeing, then that's great. But most of the time, we need to tool up and skill up and level up. So hopefully you're able to join me. I'm going to just share my screen and it's going to look all wacko, but this is what I have. And some are new, some have been here. So I'm going to go over it quickly. This is my podcast, which is my MP3. What I'm doing right now is live streaming, which goes to my YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But Level Up is basically higher education edition, and it's not all about professors or PhDs or DBAs. I pivoted since May of last year to actually elevate and get to know our world. And that means I talk to anybody and everybody all over the world and how they can provide added value conversations that we can use as transferable skills today. This will be my website, or is my website, Level Up, Lua by DocLeland.com, which is Level Up Academy by DocLeland.com. And I give free workshop every single month and give you certificates for work if you need it for professional development. My website, I'm sorry, my YouTube is at Lua by Doc Leland. And actually, this is running live right now on my YouTube channel. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. I would love to hear your feedback on what else that you are looking for to level you up. LA Weekly has my website. So if I mention your name on my website or on my live stream in YouTube, your SEO score goes up. Same thing for Shout Out DFW. I am an expert on babyboomer.org, and my podcast, which is the MP3 version, also goes there. I don't know how many people they have. The last time I heard, it's like over 100,000, I believe. And that's one of my distribution channel. FeedSpot is also one of my distribution channel. So think of it like FeedSpot as like the billboard. You know, when you're like driving, you see this billboard and there's music and the billboard, like top 100. I'm on top 100 podcast for education, 29 out of 100. And then these are my distribution channels. So once your MP3 goes out, you can hear yourself on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Deezer, RSS Notes, TuneIn, and all of these magazines as well. I am working on my fourth book, and I'm so excited about that. So if you're interested on Amazon, you will find this as my first book. This is written in APA because it is my dissertation. So if you want to know, hey, what did you write about to get your doctorate? This is it. And my book 2 is actually with 8 different authors, which when I was a dean, we did a summit. And this is on 6 different languages like French, German, and Italian, I believe, is also on this book, and it's on those 6 different languages. The third book, we hit international best-selling author back in July, and look at that graphics. Oh, did I have it? I don't know if you can see, but I have the book. Thank you, Mr. Lee, and I can't wait. It's an anthology. And basically about my 2 cents on self-love. And right now I am working on my 4th book, and it's called Rattled Awake. So think about over the last 5 years of your life, what is the single biggest event that caused you to completely change your perspective? And I really have to think about that. And then I come to the conclusion that I'll be writing about education, which is my passion, on why when we speak up as parents, not even as an educator, as parents, we are labeled, especially in the state of Virginia last year, as a terrorist, where you have to call the FBI because we spoke what we shouldn't be speaking, and elevating our kids and being involved in our kids' life and what they should read or able to read and what they should be teaching in these public schools. So that would be something that, like, whoa. So if I speak up as a parent, I'm a terrorist? What? So I'll be doing a lot of research more on that. And this type of writing is actually not an APA. So this is going to be a challenge for me because I don't write in a different way. I do write flow, like poetry. I love sonnets. I love Shakespeare. I'm dramatic, if you already don't know. I love that. But at the same time, this would be something that Lonnie Ray is going to teach me on writing the best way to hit bestseller. There's a structure for it. So that's our goal, is to hit bestseller again. If you want more information, you can definitely DM Lonnie. You can go to thirdpartyinsights.com, or you could scan this on your phone right now if you need more information. This weekend, August 18th, 19th, and 20th, we're going to actually write that story this weekend. We want this book out in September. And I've never worked in a book this fast. I'm scared, but at the same time, I'm excited because I'm with the professionals who know what they're doing when it comes to that. So this is something that is very exciting for me. And my other sponsor is TossieBrands.com. Janice is an inventor because of her dad. And if you want 30% off, you just type in level up 23 and you will get that discount or coupon taken out. You can use Tossie pretty much anywhere and everywhere. I use it for sleeping because it helps me sleep on my REM sleep, right? Because I snore. So if I gain weight, 20 pounds. But if I put a pillow, it actually pushes that on my neck a little bit. And I suffer from migraines to the point where I would go to the hospital and get my shots, Toradol, and it's not good for my liver. So I tried not to get migraines. And so this pillow actually helps me. And that's why I stand. Anything that I put on here is something that I've used or have experienced, because I can't talk about it if I haven't bought it, right? And this is the one that I am using, the blue one. And I'm still begging Janice to give me a pink one. I will volunteer myself to be a salesperson if she has pink Tossie pillow. Okay. If you are thinking of go on vacation in Mexico and you don't know where to go or where to stay, my sister Sandra she owns her own condo in Mazatlan. And this is the view, and this is the inside of her condo. If you scan this right here, you can actually get to her Airbnb information and just message her like, hey, Sandra, I got this message or information from CJ, and she said she will give you a discount. I don't know how much, but something, right? And so I am wanting to share that information because who doesn't want to go on vacation and have fun? And my sister Nicole actually is everything in terms of graphics design, content creation, right? Pushing you, supporting you. And she also has not in control, 7 a.m. PST or 11 a.m. EST. She has an audio room every single Sunday. My sister Christine has a journal for teachers to support you in your journey. She's been an educator in K-12 for 30 years. 30 years. That's how much dedication she has. Her adversity doesn't stop her. Okay. She's unstoppable when it comes to helping children, your children, our children, right? That's our future, and also fellow teachers. My sister, Susanna, is going to have courses. She's going to have her own book coming up. And really, if you just want a good listener and you haven't chatted with Susanna, just say, hey, CJ told me to DM you. Do you want to chat? And she's probably going to call me, stop sending people. There's too many of them. But she's a good listener. I love her. And her superpower is storytelling. And also she's an author. She's a speaker. And she actually will help you move beyond boxes, right? Or always in that boxes. And then if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, because I can't apparently keep up with what I'm doing as well, if you go to sleekbaya.com/Lua, my calendar, if you want a coffee chat with me directly one-on-one, is on there. The software Dub right here that I use. If you are a salesperson or you're selling a product or service, the CTA, wow. I talked to their founder, and one of the guys, not Dub, but somewhere else that I wanted to do for my business was like $12,000. I was like, not happening. But Dub does everything and more for me and my business, and it's affordable. And then, of course, Lana Ray, if you guys would love to DM her and just kind of see if you're not able to join us on this book adventure, that's going to be a bestseller. Okay. This time, it's okay. Just go ahead and DM her and have coffee chats with her. But just know that she is busy. So be intentional with those conversations. And that is it. That's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for me listening. Are you guys ready? I'm looking at the green room. Let's see if they're ready. They're getting me like, I don't see a smile. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if they're ready. Are they ready? Do you think?
There it is.
Well, I was just on my phone checking out this Lua by Doc Leland, learning all this stuff and signing up for courses, obviously. So yeah. I was a little sidetracked. I apologize. You have my full attention now, my dear.
Oh, you're funny. Oh my gosh. Sia is our first person. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Oh, I love it. She's thinking global. I love it. It's still morning, sister. You're 2 hours ahead of me. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Fantastic,
it is
as
a wonderful
always.
day, and it's quite an honor to be on this show. I can't wait.
Hey, Leslie. Oh my. So I'm going to start with James, and the question of the day
Yep.
really is about think back 20 years ago and find within your timeline some of the significant changes in your life that got you where you are today.
So many changes. My life has turned right around 360. I was a very large man. At one point, I was 380 pounds. I was unhealthy. I was lazy. I smoked a lot of weed. I was a great dad. That's the only thing that I was good at. I also did a lot of work with autism with children, and I was very excellent at that. I did a lot of great work. But other than that, other than working with kids with autism and helping them achieve their goals and helping my children achieve the goals, I really was unhappy. I suffered from a lot of mental depression, and I wasn't loving life, and I was just eating my feelings. Around 2015, I changed my life and started studying what I ate and really looking at it. Found keto, lost 152 pounds, and then started looking at my life and trying to figure out what would make me happy. Because when I lost the 152 pounds, I thought that would be it. You know, my life would be perfect because I'm beautiful and I'm wonderful and great. But I still had all these voices telling me that I was still fat. I still had I still had the depression because I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I actually like hated my life, and I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying my marriage. My kids had just left. So it was even more crystal clear that what I was doing wasn't the right thing. So then I started examining my life, and I started, I learned how to run. I started working out. I started finding the things that I really enjoy doing. And then back then I started a podcast. Well, it wasn't really a podcast. It was a series of videos called Autism in Perspective. You can still find it if you want on YouTube. It's just a series of videos. My plan was to teach parents how to get in touch with their autistic child. Because in my career, I was great. I was able to really connect with children that have autism, and I was able to help them learn to talk and help them learn to interact with the world. But their parents couldn't get that interaction because they didn't have the skills I had. So I made a series of videos to teach what I knew and the steps that I go through to make that interaction happen. And then I got some notoriety because there was this organization that wanted us to talk, but wanted the business side too. So I called Pat in to do it, and Pat and I did that, and we were just amazing together. The chemistry was automatically right away. So that's when we started thinking about Soaring Profits. It wasn't the key thing, but that's when the wheels started turning for me, because Autism in Perspective, I had done what I needed to do for that. I felt that if parents watched that series, they would be really able to connect with the children that they had. And I was done with that. So I had to move on to something else, and thus Soaring Profits. I hope that answered a little bit of your question. I can't hear you.
Muted. There you go. You're back.
I can't hear you.
Oh, my dog was screaming. I didn't want to. You're like, what is happening here? There's a gap there that I wanted to clarify. Like, how did you know each other?
Oh, so a long time ago, we started in business together. An organization, we started working together, and we just right away. I am on the old school liberal side. He's on the old school conservative side, and we clashed at first. And we would have arguments over politics, religion, all sorts of things, just life. And as time went on, we kept on having those like good conversations. But at the end of the conversation, we were like, okay, buddy, I can't wait to see you again. And then we started going out for drinks and started like really enjoying the fact that both of us could have different perspectives, but still be good buddies. And you know what? There have been so many times. I was stranded once in Ottawa, and this man came and got me. So there are so many times that we've helped each other out, and we're brothers, even though we have very different opinions sometimes.
I love that because I lost friendship and really fought with some of my family members because of political views. And I stay away from those conversations. Not that I can't carry myself. It's just that it gets heated and people get emotional. And at the end of the day, I'm thinking, are you guys getting paid from these people that you're like arguing about? Because if you're not, you're wasting your time and energy, literally.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, why? Just like, I'm friends with you not because you're Republican or Democrat or conservative or not conservative. I'm friends with you because you're cool. You're beyond your politics. Like, what? Right? And I don't look at people like, oh, so you're not this and you're not that. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm Asian. I'm 5 feet tall and I'm getting old. What's your point? Right? But the thing is, am I fun to have a conversation with? I hope so. Like that is really the whole point of having those types of friendships. So I love that you're on the opposite side, but then you're still like, I still love you, man. Come on, bro. Like
we have the same core values. Like we're both Catholic men that grew up in the Catholic system. We both believe strongly in family, like we would do anything for our family, and we both believe our word is our bond. Like no matter if I say something or Pat says something, it's going to happen. And those are core values. So what he believes, and like the times that he's wrong, it's okay. I don't mind that he's wrong. It doesn't bother me that he's wrong. I do let him know that he's wrong, and he accepts that fact, and he has to walk around knowing he's wrong. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me at all.
Right, so I have been sitting very patiently for this whole diatribe that we've just kind of run through here. Being a good guest, this is usually on Soaring Profits on our show, where I would cancel him, throw him off. I would do a little monologue, a segment explaining exactly, well, we'll just call it fact finding, maybe. What were all the censors doing for the last little while on all the social media stuff? No, so James and I have been friends for far too many years now. I've recently got him into golfing. He's learning how to do that. And he's doing quite well. But no, we grew a friendship out of otherwise an animosity. And I think that that's exactly where we are in the world right now, is that you've got these polarizing perspectives in the world. And our whole goal with Soaring Profits, again, like, subscribe, and share. Check us out. This is my shameless plug. There will only be maybe 5 or 6 of them during this entire pop here, but YouTube, LinkedIn, all the things, right? Check us out. Soaring Profits, not FITS, Anyways, but our whole conversation that we would have, we were very fortunate because we had that basis of fundamental to come back to have these discussions, but then walk away, high five, and be like, you're so wrong, but I love you, pal. But we need that more in society. Like, we need to have an environment where you can disagree and you can respect the other human being for just them being a human being. And over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years, we've lost that. So James and I, James had wanted to do a podcast for a very long time. And I had said, no, I have absolutely no interest. I have no time. I have at the time was a 12-year-old daughter, now 14, who was, we were running all over the province, right? State, we're in Canada, so it's a province. We were running all over the country with athletics. She was a provincial gymnastics individual, rugby. Like, she's a very athletic girl. So we were running all over. Myself, I have a portfolio of residential properties that I own and kind of self-manage, as well as I manage my own finances, and I teach people how to do that. So I was a busy guy, and James is like, hey man, we need like a couple hours here. We'll put logos together. We'll put all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't have time for this. I love that this is what you're doing, and I love this is a thing. You've got a little extra time, jump on it. We love it. So anyways, long story short, I guess maybe he talked me into maybe over a beer of actually sitting down, and he's like, dude, he literally pulled out the phone out of his pocket. We were sitting in an office, and he's like, go. And that's where Soaring Profits was born. And so now we have had this really cool.
Sorry, Matt, you can actually hear our first podcast. It's on being a man, toxic male masculinity. I've added some videos to it. It is only audio. But if you want to hear what the very first podcast of Soaring Profits was, it's still on YouTube. Sorry, Matt.
And that was a situation where, again, just go. But it was that spark. It was kind of that prime mover opportunity to just jump in and try it. And since then, we've interviewed, physicians in Brazil. We've been with Mark Zen Sandwich in Japan. We've Doc Leland in California. We're heading down to San Antonio next month. We have had such a great opportunity to meet the hounds of business with Mike, Afterburner, as the nickname is kind of sticking around here.
Afterburner.
But we have had, like Doc Leland, when I watched yesterday when you were interviewing Mark Reed, those moments where people come and they're like, hey, I was like on the verge. Like I didn't know what my life was going to be like. And somehow a story that James told about his weight loss, or me with, I recently lost my father, who is my best friend, my business partner, my mentor, all these things a year and a half ago. And they're like, I was there. Like I was in those moments when you'd be describing those things, and you guys touched my life and you changed it. I was at the verge. I didn't know what to do. We were in COVID. We had financial problems, and Pat with some of your financial coaching and James with your personal wellness and motivation, you took us off the edge of the abyss. And like you said yesterday, when you hear somebody say that to you, and we're just a couple, maybe upper middle class dudes from Ontario, Canada, and you touch somebody's life in that way, that's not something you can do every day. And the technology and the great group of the Hounds is allowing us to do that. We don't have products. We don't have placements. We don't have anything like that we do. We tell people stories, and we love doing it.
Yeah, no, I think it's amazing. The people that we have got to talk to have been life-changing. Like some of the stories, like a blind runner that has run more miles than I've ever even thought of running without a guide. Organizations that have been started, like, so tonight I can't wait to talk with Chris from Walking Tall. Started an organization from a huge tragedy, the parade shooting, and that's who these people are. There are so many stories that we're telling that, you know what, that they were in a dark moment like I was, and to where Pat was with his father. And instead of curling up into a ball, instead of giving up, which there are people out there, that's what happens. We chose to stand up and we chose to walk forward, and we want to show that. We want people out there. This is the time. Right now, people are so torn, so divided, so angry, so lost. Money is a huge issue. Life problems are getting worse. And we need to show them that there's a way forward if you just keep on going, walk through the storm. The storm's going to teach you. And at the end of the day, you're going to walk through that storm and you're going to be stronger. And that's why I love doing what we're doing. And shameless plug, my turn. Join us at 9:00 tonight on our YouTube channel. We're going to have Chris from Walking Tall. I can't wait till he tells us his story. We're going to explore, his motivation, some of his PTSD, and who he is and what he's doing now, which is some amazing stuff. I just love what he's doing now. I've been watching from the sidelines, and I can't wait to really delve in and get involved. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, definitely. And tonight, I definitely will tune in. I'm pretty familiar with his situation, and that's the reason why in my global summit I asked him to give back to his walking tool, because that's how we level up as a community, right? Like, think about, I don't know about you guys, I grew up in third world country where, like, we didn't have any electricity, so the only activity we have is either throw rocks, go to the beach, or wait at night with no electricity and tell ghost stories from our grandmother. Like, I was looking forward at 7 at night, grandma's gonna tell me part 2 of that, whatever happens. And that's how I grew up. And so when I hear stories, it brings me back to the time when my grandma was still alive, and she was able to tell me, like, back in 1902, like, I met my great grandma. She died at 101, but I met her, and she was in the 1870 when she was born, and that didn't make sense to me then. And also, it's like crazy that I met someone from the 1800s. I feel so old. But basically, she would tell us stories like during the war and what she did. And I'm like, oh, I'm on the edge of the seat. And then I noticed that one of our house that I grew up in has a trellis, but then they put some like cover in it. And of course, me, when you say no, I say yes. So I opened it, went through it, and it was so dark. And halfway there, so we didn't like candles, and I went, and it's about 2-mile walk, and underneath the house, and when you go all the way out, it's the beach. And I'm thinking, how did that happen? So I asked my grandma, and I said, hey, can you? And she's like, you're not supposed to go there, there's a ghost in there, and she tells me. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, well, a lot of Americans and other people died down there because during the war we would hide people there. They would come from the beach, they would get hurt, and we would hide them under the house. I grew up in a house where there had like I don't know, 16 to 20 bedrooms. The house was huge. Okay.
Boy.
And but the underneath it was like the ocean. I was like, what happened here? And my grandma's like, yeah, well, there's ghosts there and people dying and Americans in there and Japanese and, during the war. And it's so amazing, like living the history through the lens of my grandmother. And so when you guys are doing that, when we are doing that with our stories, we bring that human side of us, right? Because only people, when you post, you see, oh, wow, they're doing something positive and they're always everywhere and CJ's always everywhere, but you don't get see the nitty gritty of that pain of how you got there. And support is number one when it comes to mental well-being. If you don't have the support, you're going to feel alone and you're going to walk alone.
And that's so true. Like last week, we had the amazing Raquel that everyone knows is incredible, happy, beautiful, wonderful, so full of expressions. And we got to hear her story. And, it wasn't always that way. Her life wasn't always easy. She had to go through her storms too. And it was interesting seeing how she went through her storms and where she started at and where she ended at. And now she's a powerhouse that is just going to change the world. And it was nice to see. Like, it's so amazing that these people are out there. You right now could be watching this and you could be at the worst moment of your life. You think it's over, but these people have been there. They've sat in that room with you, like that maybe not the same experience, but experience that, equals it. And they're standing up on top of the mountain looking down going, I can do this, you can do this, let's go, I'll help you out. And they're there to do that. I'm sorry, Pat's just killing me.
I know.
Let me in, coach.
But what I really love, I think, is also this podcast that you guys are doing, right? Like we're all doing. Oh, we took James
out. Right out. Pat's dream.
Oh my gosh, that was funny. But at the same time, we're walking tall with all these issues. Like for me, with my daughters, when they start whining, I have a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. When they start whining, and I'm like, what is your excuse? I came in this country. I didn't know how to speak English. I didn't know how to speak English. Okay. And I moved out at 18 and I had a full-time job and they're like, mom, look at me. I'm not you. And I'm like, oh, like I didn't know it already. Like I'm so mad about that. And,
100%. And again, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, just turned 14. Love her to death. Light of my world. I do everything I possibly can to support her. And James and I talk about this launch pad. Right. And it's, again, check out the Father Toxic Masculinity podcast that we did. But we talk about this launch pad. So myself, I work my butt off. I work very, very hard to provide for my family. And again, I am the sole provider for my daughter. I have her full time. That's not rare. That's a little bit rare for a 36-year-old dude. Right. So my whole thing for my daughter is that, like, you're going to be given opportunities. You have to make something of them. If you choose to sit in your phone all day in your bedroom and do the stupid stuff and worry about the TikTok lifestyle, that your outcome will be not satisfactory to what your expectations are. If you take that launch pad and you use it and you jump and you reach for the stars literally are your limit. So you have that opportunity. Whereas, Doc Leland, coming from a third world country, doesn't speak the language. She had to build a different path, a different ladder to that. And I think a lot of us here in the West, especially, we struggle with what our and I hate to use the word privileges because it's almost been given a bad connotation in kind of the wokeness that we've had over the last little while. But, the privilege, the opportunities that we have here with education, you can walk out and you can get an education with the availability to food, right? Like just water, clean water. That is such an expectation that our children don't understand. And when individuals come to this country and they take advantage of that, if you stay in your room watching TikTok all day, you're not taking advantage of that. Get out there, go build, go strive. And I've been so fortunate. My daughter's with me doing, rental agreements. She's calling references at 13, 14 years old for tenants, right? She's calling their employers. Hey, what do you think of John Smith? And it's like, okay, she goes out and gets a job. She's coaching in her gymnastics thing. All of these are that level up type achievements that we talk about. And especially for a young woman in the business world, being able to talk and communicate, having those soft skills that go into that hard skill when she goes and she educates herself later. And it's so important. And that's where James with his kids is the exact same way. And like going back to what he was saying, even though he's wrong all the time, I respect where he comes from. I respect where he comes from, so that's why we can have these dialogues.
Yeah.
I love your relationship, guys. It's so amazing. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I just wanted to dive in and make sure that everyone's aware that he's on the wrong side of this. But no, it's totally true. Like, so Pat, so what I did with my kids is I would tell them, like, from a young age, they would have to come and sit at the table and do their homework. They had to get all of the hard work done before the fun work. And I would tell them that, you know, you have two choices. You can work as hard as you can, and then when you get out of high school, you get to pick. You get to do whatever the hell you want. You're going to drive that. But if you do what I did, which I did not try my best. I like I said, back then I was smoking weed. I was not achieving, even though I am very bright. I chose the easy route. I was told what I could do. I was told what I wasn't allowed to do. Like, there were many, many things that I wasn't allowed to apply for because I did not have the grades that I should have had. I really squandered what I had. So I told my kids that, you know, this is your choice. You can either work hard, and then at the end of the game, you're going to be able to go, you know what, I want to do that. And you're going to be able to do it. Or you can choose to do what I did and squander it. And at the end of the day, you won't be able to do it. Someone's going to walk up to you and go, here's your shovel, buddy. Or you're going to work at McDonald's, or you're going to do this. And you will only, like, I had a great career, well, still have a great career helping kids with autism, but there's a cap to that. There are people above me that have way less experience than I do, that know way less about autism than I do, but I can't go up there because I don't have the degrees. The difference is I didn't apply myself, I didn't try, and I don't have the degrees for success. And that has held me back for so long, and it was a huge mistake.
It's not too late. Hello? I'm still going to school. What are you talking about?
I'm going podcast way now, and we're going to teach people that, you know what, you can do this. You can grow from it. I myself, I'm now a marathon runner, learn how to do marathons. I'm learning all this podcast stuff, learning, you know, I'm going in a different direction because when I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be in the TV kind of realm. Now I really enjoy the interview. I think it's really my desire, my passion.
We're gonna buy our network. You could still act. Just saying.
Dress. He does a great leg. The pencil skirt fits lovely. He can try anything.
Yeah.
Hello.
I have amazing gams. I am just saying, if you guys ever get an opportunity to check out my gams, they're amazing. I may be aging myself with the GAM comment. I don't know.
This is where it gets weird.
Yeah.
We're like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Good thing you shaved today. Oh my
God. Like, share, subscribe. I'm just saying. This is who we are.
we're taking his head off again. I have a question about your podcast. What were the initial challenges you faced when launching it, and how did you overcome them?
Well, I'll start and we'll get Pat in here. So we had so many challenges. Like, so one, we were lost. So like I said, I started in the autism in perspective area because that's what I knew. And you always start with what you know, because so there was a lot of a learning curve, because back then I was editing videos and changing it up and stuff like that. So when I brought Pat on the scene and convinced him, we still, because he was so busy, it was still like we were filming and then I was editing, and it would take me a week to edit one episode. It was very frustrating. It was very hard to do. So then we got into the realm of, we switched it up. And at first it was just him and I talking. We were talking about issues because like we said, we wanted to have those round table conversations that we had with our dad. Both Pat and I had very powerful dads that were like very like the head of the household, but also very caring and kind and very there for us. They were very in our life, and like Pat said, best friends. And we would sit at the table and we would argue with them. Just like Pat and I argue, we would have opposing views, but at the end of the day, you still hug and everything's fine. And it was beautiful. And we really wanted to mimic that. So that's what we started with. We started making videos of us talking. So we decided that the metaverse was the way to go. And Pat was the one that actually Pat's daughter was the one that brought the metaverse to us. So Pat, why don't you explain that portion of our life? Because that was just a tech hell for me.
Well, yeah.
I have the metaverse. We guys should meet and have a meeting there. Go ahead.
There you go. Well, so that's where it started, Doc. And this, when we first started podcasting, we were trying to figure out, again, it started with James on his phone, pulling it out of his pocket, going, go. And we're like, we don't know where to go with this. What are we going to say? What does a conversation really look like when you're trying to make something out of content? So I had bought my daughter one of the Meta Quest 2 Oculus, right? So I bought her one of them for Christmas. And the metaverse, I don't know if you guys remember, last year the metaverse was AI this year. So I'm a big finance guy. Like, I watch the market, I trade the market daily. And last year, everyone was like, oh my gosh, the metaverse is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Well, bleh, right? So it just never happened, because it's an amazing idea, but it's 5 years down the road. There's so much technology that has to go into this. So us being, pivotal, front-loaded, early adapters, we're like, these heads floating around, and we made these little cartoon characters. Again, check us out. Especially on Instagram, we've got a lot of these because it's funny. We think it's hilarious. But that's where we started. So we have these avatars where we would sit in a conference room, because we were kind of emulating the Zoom thing. And we would sit in a conference room with cool views of, the Grecian Bay out behind us. Lovely, very cool stuff. And then, like James said, he would spend the next 5 days cutting and editing, getting cameras, getting the sound right. And we're like, listen, we're going to kill ourselves before we get started here. Let's do something. Let's pivot to a live. And when we started pivoting to a live, we would have these great conversations. It was quick. It was easy. We could get them out as like fairly functionally. And then we're like, let's go and bring somebody else in. Let's bring a third party. And we started off with people that we knew. Like, we did individuals that own businesses. Some of them were massage therapists, Reiki masters, individuals that were just in our realm, people that were around us. And then we hit a really inspirational woman who started, she was a publisher, and she created an opportunity for individuals to tell their stories. And Doc, what a snowball.
1,000 trees.
1,000 trees is the publishing company. And it was a snowball. And she was working on a brand at the time that was about sexual assault survivors. So this whole book, there was a number of different authors that went into this, a number of different people's stories. An anthology, I'll call it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is right in the time where we kind of grabbed the hold of her and we're like, oh, okay, great. So she would send us people. And we kind of went down this for about a month and a half or 2 months of these survivors. And we've interviewed people that in Canada here, Catholic Church sex assault survivors. We've had individuals with different family members that survived trauma. And it's not even so much that we're talking about the events themselves, is that we talk about the what's next. And we ended up doing this panel interview with 4 survivors with an organization called Recovery Speaking Initiative out of Guelph, Ontario. And we went in, and it was our first studio experience. So we went in and we were in like a cave, and we're all lit up, and it was really kind of a cool experience. And we told these people stories from a place that is like emotionally the deepest, darkest places you could ever possibly be. Like, talking about the worst day of their life, their experience, the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to them. And then, oddly enough, the wild relationships that come afterwards, their friends, how they feared the world would view them and look at them. And when you have somebody stand there, and I didn't know these people, I'd never met these people before in my life. And all of a sudden you end up hearing their worst traumatic experience of their life, but they're telling you because they realize that if somebody had told them their story and that there is light at the end of the tunnel, that they would have been better sooner, faster. They would have been able to shine light for such a dark, dark, dark place. And then you get that story like you were talking about with Mark yesterday, that woman that reached out to you and said, you were talking about ending your podcast, Doc. And you're like, whoa, this woman changed my whole perspective on that when she reached out and said, your podcast saved my life. And that's where James and I are now, is that at the end of the day, it feels like we're touching people's lives. We're telling stories, but most importantly, we're letting people tell their story, whether it's survivor stories, whether it's a business, Why are you spending hours and hours and hours working on this project away from your family so that you can build something for that launching pad for the rest of your family, generational wealth, all of that sort of thing. So it's been a beautiful journey.
I think, okay, now my brain is like, whoop, whoop, whoop. I could literally, like, we could get a GoFundMe on a TV network for you guys to travel to places like Tibet, and look at the monk and say, okay, why are you choosing to be a monk?
I'm in.
Like, I want to know why. And then I'm going to start a GoFundMe so you can go to Antarctica, okay? Feed the penguins some fish. Let me tell you something.
And get them to subscribe.
Yes, I'm going to do 7 continents. Literally all the podcasters I asked, like, do you have 7 continents? Do you have seven continents? No, 6. I'm like, dang it. I have not met one that's in 7 continents, or they said they are, but they can't prove to me they are. I'm like, I need proof that they exist. People exist in Antarctica.
So James, there is totally a Photoshop opportunity here, pal. Just us.
I can make it happen. Yep. I can literally make us be in. I can make a video of us in all 7 continents.
There you go.
What do we get if we do that? Do we win something?
And Michael Gale's got to go. He's not going there fast enough. He's those
there's a great guy. That's one of the reasons why we ended up with Hounds of Business is Michael Gale. So we interviewed him. And how did we pick him up? Where did that come from?
So when I was in Autism in Perspective, I was in a group that we were trying to help each other rise above, trying to help each other level up. And we were showing, if you had a difficulty, you had a problem, you could talk to them and go, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Oh, I want to buy a new mic. What mic should I buy? Kind of like that. And then also commenting on each other's kind of thing in LinkedIn. And so when we started interviewing people, I remembered Michael Gale, and I'm like, Michael Gale he knows his stuff. Not only is he doing incredible adventures with businesses, he's taking business owners and changing their whole perspective on the world and seeing the world in a different light and getting them back to work and stronger, better, faster. And so I'm like, I have to talk to this guy. We have to interview him. So I contacted him. And after the interview, because we do a lot of networking with the people we interview, usually if you're an interesting, creative, wonderful person with a business or, you've gone through stuff, other people that also are creative and interesting. So Michael Gale led us to the amazing, talented Sia. Bright media.
Bright beam.
Why?
Oh, you're in trouble now. You're in trouble now.
I'm sorry, Sia. I'm really sorry. Bright beam media. And she led us to the Hounds with Mike Afterburner, who is amazing. And so we have this group that Pat likes to call a cult. I like to call him family, but Pat likes to call him a cult. He, like I said, he's wrong sometimes. And that's where we're at right now. We have people like Sia who is like she's already been there, done that. So she's helping us a little bit because she's a master of producing shows and helping others grow. Mike, who knows more about LinkedIn than anyone. And then we've met people like Raquel and you and just some amazing people. And now we're getting to tell stories on a whole other level. Stories.
Me to you guys. She's like, hey, check them out. I'm like, why? He's like, just do it. I'm like, fine. And that's how we basically get each other like, let's go. And we don't even question it because we trust each other that we are in good intentions and we like to collaborate with people. And that's one thing I love about Sia is that we collaborate on a lot of things, but sometimes we don't talk because we're too busy. But we're not needy people. Like, you have to call me for 5 minutes. I'm gonna be feeling left. I don't have time for that.
Yep.
Literally, if you want that type of friendship, I'm not it. Because I can't have needy people except for my kids and my dog. They're literally sometimes in here. And I'm like, I have 6 of them. I can't add anymore. But I want to highlight this. Mike Afterburner to say a boot for some reason. She doesn't even know why she's saying it. It is funny. And then Raquel's like, yeah, of course it did, But here's, look at Sia says, Antarctica. We're gonna go. My nightmare, the cold. I know. Listen, I'm an island girl, okay? I know. But if I get 7 continents, okay, that's my goal. I will do it. Okay. I can't run, guys. I have scoliosis a little bit on the S side. Yeah, I just can't run. I was like, it's quite heavy. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're good. It's up with us. We're the polar bears that if you can't run, really, we just have to outrun you.
That's right.
Down there, you're probably in good space. Those penguins, they might just like pick at you, probably not eat you. So you're probably
just a little bit, just taste. Before we end, I want to ask this conversation, and let's start with you since you're already up here. If this is your last day today on this earth, what would be your parting message to your current and future families in terms of living life, legacy, and impact, especially for your kids and your great grandkids?
Oh, that's easy. First of all, make sure you're building a platform. Every decision you make as the head of your household should involve everyone below you, not below you in such a way that they're below you, but everyone who follows you. Every time you make a decision, every time I make a decision, Pat has helped me out immensely with using my finances. I'm building, like he is, mine is a little bit slower, a few houses underneath me to get like some passive income going. And all of that isn't for me. I don't need money. Pat has shown me the way. I work 2 full-time jobs. I'm doing this. I don't need the money. All the money that I'm building now is for my future grandkids, future children. And also, I'm trying to build a legacy that they can follow through our videos, through our Soaring Profits, to show that, you know what, no matter how dark it is, don't give up. There are times in everyone's life that you feel like you can't carry on, that you are at your end, nothing's going to get better. Nothing's going to change, that you're on your knees and you're just going to stay there. The world hates you. I remember a point where I was on my knees sobbing and thinking that literally God was against me, that the darkness that surrounded me was going to continue to surround me because I had a curse. I remember thinking that, and I wanted to give up, but I didn't. I stood back up and I was able to move forward, and I started making changes. If you make changes, your life will get better. But if you sit there and sob like I did, your life can't get better. If you wake up every day doing the same thing, nothing changes. Start with one thing. I always say, and I talk about this, if you look back, I do a lot of videos just by myself, running, stuff like that. Start with making your bed every morning. I'm telling you right now, the difference of coming home after a terrible day and your bedroom is clean, it's huge. You feel like amazing. You know what? I didn't accomplish anything today. Everything sucked, but my room is clean. I'm in it.
Coming over, like,
beautiful. And then that just grows outwards. My house is so clean now. Like, my house is clean, and then you start doing other things like I want to run every day, which I do. You start these routines, and it gets you out of that spot. So if you're in the darkness right now, or you're my future kids, my grandkids, and you're in the darkness, I'm telling you right now, it gets better, but you have to do some work. You can't just sit there and let it happen. No one's coming to help you. God doesn't work that way either. He'll provide you the opportunities, but you have to grasp them. And that's my thoughts on this.
I love that. Just baby step. I think I have not met anyone who has never gone down on their knees that got that thought in their head, including myself, of like, I'm done. This is too much, right? And I think the common ground that we have created is that we didn't give up. We just keep going. Sometimes we make it look so easy, but the turmoil in your head is just wow. If someone could go into my head right now, you would want to vomit, honestly. But at the same time, it's like keeping it at bay. Right? How about you, Patrick? You have a daughter. You can have great grandkids. What's the legacy in life that you want to leave?
So it comes down to 2 things for me: is faith and family, and those 2 things are as simple as you can boil it down to. And I'm Catholic, but that faith can be anything. You have to have a belief in something bigger than yourself. And for myself, over the last few years, when we've talked with individuals that have, survived traumatic things, been in deep, dark addictions, the number one thing that they talk about, and this goes back to like a big book, Alcoholics Anonymous and all this stuff, is that you have to take a step back and believe in something bigger than yourself, whatever that is. You can believe in Jesus, you can believe in Muhammad, you can believe in the thing on the wall. You have to have some other power that at points in your life, you're like, I can only control this to this X factor. And then that is beyond me. And then when you can do that and you can look and you have a core, a nucleus of a family, and that all works together for a common goal. I'm an only child. So I have two great loving parents that did everything in the world for me that they possibly could. My daughter is an only child, but I am so blessed with my family members, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, so many people in our realm. And I'm going to tell a very brief story, but it really goes back to who my family is as a whole. My father, who was born in 1952, he was the youngest by 9 years in his family. So he had a brother that was, 9 years older than him, and then his sister is 7 years older than him. And his dad was he was about 2.5 years old. His father went off to work one day, came home, took a massive heart attack, and died. And the morning he left to leave to go to work that day, he would go and the kids would all line up at the door, see their father off. And this day, the kids were all there, the 9, the 7, and the 2.5-year-old. And he would usually give them like a chiclet, like a little piece of gum going out the door. And that day, he only had the one piece of gum. There was one piece of gum in his pocket where he'd usually give the kids a piece of gum, tap them on the head, love you, I'll see you tonight. And so that day, he handed it to my father's brother, Dave, who was the 9-year-old. 9 years old, you just throw it in your pocket and be like, screw you guys, I'm running away to the kitchen, right? He went to the kitchen, got a knife, and cut that into 3 pieces. And that story, that 3-piece chiclet in that household, the day that their father died, I don't even care if it's a true story, right, at this point. But it has been told, it has been shared, it has been the bedrock of why my family is so tight-knit. I can call on them, I can ask them, they can call on me, they can ask me, and it's absolutely going to happen. And it's that my word is my bond, my family is everything. So for me, my advice 100 years from now to my family, if you've lost that, go rebuild it. If you have a problem with a family member that you're not having a relationship with and you feel terrible or sad about that, be the one to make that change. Step out of your comfort zone. Screw they were wrong. You can go make that right. And that's where I'm so blessed. And that would be my advice in the future for my family.
I think you have a fan. Did you see that?
I did. We love her too.
And she's buying you boots. That's what I got. Right?
Yeah. When we go to Texas.
I love it.
Yeah, I can't wait. We're heading to Texas. We're going to meet some of these wonderful people that we've only talked to through camera. Going to get some great content. You guys wait and see. There's going to be some wonderful people. These are wonderful people. You should be watching them all.
I know. And I wish that you guys would, if I can't make it in September, I wish you guys would come to San Diego for a day so I could just go to lunch.
Let's go.
I'm in.
Do is lunch.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the GoFundMe. We can travel everywhere now. We're good to go.
And I think we should, definitely. I think we should. We should just have a little GoFundMe for all of us to go and okay, guys, what do you want to know right now? We go to Yugoslavia. You go to Japan. Japan's a little bit more expensive, but I'm just saying.
We show up, we break, and we do all our little interviews, and then we come back together, and Sia makes them all shine.
Yeah, so you don't have to do 1 hour or 100 weeks of editing. So here it is. Bye.
Here it is.
I thought AI was going to change all that. Wasn't AI you just make it happen?
Yeah, it's AI.
I have made a lot of money. Shorting the market because of the AI run up in the last couple months. So thanks, guys.
But I love this conversation. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with me and just having a good time and having to get to know you a little bit more. Is there any last parting message for your subscribers, for my subscribers, for you guys to say anything about Soaring Profits?
Well, so we always do. And on our shows, when we have a guest on, we always let our guests at exactly what you're doing right now leave on the final word. And we think it's super important because that episode is their story. That's their legacy, like you've allowed us for. So I tend to be more the finance guy. I talk more the business. James is more the touchy-feely. So I always sign off with my own little characterization, and it's, let's make some money together, folks. So from me, James will get to do his in a second, but subscribe, and share. Check us out. Give us an opportunity to tell people stories. obviously get in touch with the GoFundMe. She's going to set us up. We're going to be traveling over the world apparently now. So, but like, subscribe, and share. When you do that, you allow us to go and tell people stories. We love doing it, and we love that you guys are here. Thank you so much. And like I said before, let's make some money together, guys.
Let's do it. How about you, sir?
My good friend Pat, whose family now is absolutely right. We love telling the stories. We love telling people how to rise above, how to level up. Dr. Constance Leland, Dr. Leland is amazing. I thank you all for letting us be a part of this. You guys are incredible. I love what she's doing. I would keep up with what she's doing because there are some exciting things in her future. She was just telling us about them during the show, before the show. It's going to be amazing. As for us, apparently we're going to travel the world. I'm in. I can't wait to meet a Buddhist monk and maybe do some meditation, which I'm really into. But yes, if you're interested in being on Soaring Profits, we would love to have you. Send us a message. You can get us at soaringprofits@gmail.com, and I will respond to you. Just give us a little idea of who you are, why you want to be on our show. You can be a business, anything you want. We would love to have you. Also, please, if you want us to keep on going, you like what we're doing, it would help us out a great deal if you went on YouTube and like, share, and subscribed, and help us grow our message, grow our channel, and what's important to us. And I'm going to tell you right now what's important to us. There's so much hate in our world right now, especially in North America, and we want to heal it. That is a big mission of mine. I want to bring people back together. I want people to realize that, yeah, you know what? We don't agree. Pat and I don't agree on everything, but we still believe in family. We still believe in faith. We still believe in helping each other out. And that's what's important. That's what everyone, it doesn't matter what side you're on in these things that we have decided are like earth shattering. At the end of the day, we all want love, and we all want to work together to make a common goal. And that's what's important. And that's what our message is. And that's what we're trying to grow. So everyone out there, let's heal our minds, bodies, and souls together.
Thank you. And so what time is your show tonight?
9 p.m.
How did we not throw that in there?
Standard time.
I know. I was like, excuse me, like when?
Yeah.
So 9 p.m. is that PST, EST?
EST, Eastern Standard Time. Yes.
Okay. 9.
Well, you've all subscribed, so you'll get the warning bell if you hit the notifications. Yeah. So do it. Do it.
You waiting. Just hit the button. That's it.
That's it.
Well, thank you guys so much. And this is not your last for sure. And we're gonna do some shenanigans with the rest of the gang. I'm sure with the fantasy football soon. Thank you guys for being here. And wait in the green room for a minute, okay?
Thank you so much for having us.
Yep. So that was the Soaring Prophets. Thank you guys. Sister Raquel, you're funny. I'm gonna have to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a while, but I'm gonna talk to you about something. Thanks for watching another episode of Level Up Academy today, brought to you by your none other host, Dr. Leland. Please do not forget to hit subscribe or push that notification bell, so anything that we have an activity on at Level Up Academy, you will be the first one to know. If you would like to be a guest in our podcast, both on the MP3, audio only, and also here and live in our YouTube channel, please let me know. DM me. Let's connect. Have a fantabulous day. Bye, everybody. See you next week.